Okay. It is 6:37. We'll open the March 27th meeting of Billerica Conservation Commission. And if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And staff present this evening, Isabel Torcantolis. Christine Bernard will be back. Staff present this evening, Joanne Giovanni, Diane Passo, myself, Bill Mullins, Paul Hayes, Jack Bowen, Jeff Connell, and Christine. And are there any questions, comments, or from the audience on anything not pertaining to agenda this evening? I guess not. So we are ready to go. First item, Mass Wetlands Protection Act of Billerica Wetlands Protection Bylaw Wetlands Hearing, Notice of Intent, Public Hearing for 27 Baldwin Road. Applicant Tony Marquez, DEPW file 109-1560, BBL 1560.
Good evening. My name is Lucas Perkins. I work for Base Engineering, and I'm here representing the applicant Tony Marks for this notice of intent for a proposed addition to a single-family home at 27 Baldwin Road. The lot is approximately 8.5 acres in size. It is a single-family home that was constructed in around 1920. The majority of the lot is bifurcated by the Jones Brook that runs through, and then is the southern boundary of the property. Approximately 2.5 acres of the lot is previously developed lawn and meadow, which is this area here, including the pond. The developed and undeveloped portions of the property are delineated by Jones Brook and contain various resource areas, including bordering vegetated wetlands, the riverfront of Jones Brook, and marshy, swampy, wooded area out towards the rear south of the property. A resource area delineation was performed by Norse Environmental Services in August and December of 2013. The first delineation was that portion here closest to the house. And then Norse Environmental returned again in December to flag the remaining portions of the bank beyond the limit of where the resulting 100-foot wetland buffer zone, 200-foot riverfront area arcs would impact the area of proposed work. To the resource areas, there is riverfront area, which encompasses the vast majority of demarcated by this yellow dash and dot line here, shown on the property overview plan. As you can see, the vast majority of the property is within the 200-foot riverfront area. Pond is classified as open water, and there is a small swath of bordering vegetated wetlands that can be seen here. It's delineated by wetland flags 1 through 27, and the second line B1 through 11 here. Either side of the pond, and then it stretches south beyond the pond towards the rear of the property. The resource areas, Jones Brook is classified by FEMA as a regulatory floodway, as shown on firm maps. So the regulatory floodway line shown here, this yellow large dash line on this side, and then again here, as you can see, well away from the limit of work of the existing house. There's also bordering land subject to flooding, which is between elevation 104 and 106 and 88. No work is proposed in the bordering land subject to flooding. Also, unique to Billerica is the green maps floodplain limits, which are scaled from available record plans. Demarcated by this dash double dot blue green line, which comes around towards the brook, wraps around the pond, and then tucks back in. Again, no work is proposed within the agreement. So the proposed project is more clearly detailed here on the second sheet. The applicant is seeking permission through the Wetlands Protection Act and the Billerica Wetland Protection Bylaw to construct an attached two-car garage at the west side of the property. Will be 40 by 30. The proposed driveway will be installed outside of the limits of jurisdiction. Included in the proposed construction is a 2-foot wide gravel trench around the limits of the garage to allow for infiltration of the roof runoff, as well as a 4-foot walk that will allow pedestrian access from vehicles parked in the driveway to the existing door along the house. Mitigation measures have been included as part of this project, which includes work in much closer proximity to the bank of Jones Brook. This line here, this purple line, marks a 25-foot offset of the flags as located in the field survey performed by me. So the intent was to remove all hot mix asphalt from this large hot mix driveway area at the eastern limits. Any hot mix within 25 feet would be removed. Loam and seed and some native plantings would be included there. To the performance standards, any questions before I carry on in the performance standards and the comments and so 310 CMR 10.57 bordering land subject to flooding. There is bordering land subject to flooding, as I indicated, that is between contours 104 seen here and contours 106 seen here. The limit of work, including even the installation of erosion and sedimentation controls, is outside of bordering land subject to flooding. There's no work proposed there. There's no work proposed within the regulatory floodway or within the green maps floodplain limit. So all work, including resource area protection, road controls, will be outside of all of those. Riverfront area, there is work obviously included in the riverfront area, and as you see here, the 200-foot riverfront offset. The majority of the new construction that will be changing currently natural and vegetated land into impervious area is at the maximum limit possible from the regulatory area and extends beyond jurisdictional areas. So in the alternative analysis, the alternatives were simply to do nothing, which does not accomplish the project goal of having a attached garage for the applicant. And then any other location directly abutting the house would be in significant closer proximity, both to the bank of Jones Brook and the open water and woodland vegetated wetlands that are in the pond behind the house. So within the riverfront area, there is an impact, an increase of 933 square feet total, given the vast acreage of the riverfront area that is under 1% of the total riverfront area on the property. And again, as mentioned before, to mitigate the increase in impervious area at the outer limits of the jurisdictional boundary, we have decided to convert some currently impervious area to natural clearing with vegetative planting at the closest limit of that area to the river. And so, it is believed that this project will have no significant adverse impact pursuant to 310 CMR 1058 to work within the riverfront area. The proposed addition is constructed as far away from the resource areas as possible. There have been mitigation measures included in the proposed project to offset the increase in impervious area, as well as infiltration trench to be constructed around the garage, to which all roof runoff will be directed to minimize sheet flow and overland flow and storm effects towards both of these resource areas. Bill Rick, wetland protection regulations. Sort of have touched on a lot of that, limiting on impervious surface in the buffer zone. Again, we are keeping the creation of impervious area in the buffer zone to only 394 square feet as shown by this red double hatch here. Any other scenario for an attached garage on this dwelling would be significantly closer. So this is the maximum extent applicable to minimize impervious surface, and it certainly is not greater than 25% of the existing impervious surface for the existing lot. I believe I calculated it to be a 7.8% increase over the existing, which is making it less than 25%. And I think I've already touched on sort of 3.9 with the Bill Ricca and the river fronts that, we have tried to bring the project into compliance by removing the hot mix asphalt here that is within 25 feet of the river front in the bank of the river. And by keeping the project, as far away from all resource areas as possible, that is the maximum that can be achieved. No build option was one of the alternatives considered. A detached garage was also considered, however, due to a 25-foot right of way that exists on the property for the benefit of the parcel behind. That would severely limit the size and ability of the applicant to construct the garage that he desires to have his vehicles and mowers, etc. So in total, the total riverfront area impact will be 1,438 square feet. That is the sum of this increase in impervious area here, as well as this decrease in impervious area here. So all those will be altered areas, but that results in a net increase of 428 square feet of the furthest reaches of jurisdiction and a decrease in impervious area, 505 square feet at the closest proximity. With regard to bordering vegetated wetlands, there's no take, there are no permanent impacts. This is strictly buffer zone work, again, at the maximum limit, 394 square feet of mitigation measures. We sort of touched on all that. Obviously, we have proposed erosion, sedimentation controls that will be checked regularly after every storm event. Will be installed in coordination with the agent or members where they're designated. We propose additional buffer zone planning surrounding the pond to further beautify and increase stability in those areas. Plantings also in the area of driveway being converted back to natural soil. And I believe that's all I have for mitigation measures rather. And if there are any questions or comments, if I've omitted anything, please.
Isabel, with the staff.
I have, so staff, the owner was quite proactive, reached out to the department and just to learn about what would be needed to construct the project. So we've been on the site both for the inspection of the NOI and prior to that as part of the application meeting. North Environmental did do, I believe it was North Environmental, right?
Yes, yep.
Yeah. So a few ideas that we discussed in the field, and it looks like they took our advice, and they're proposing restoration of inner riparian, where inner riparian is also overlapping with that, with the 25-foot buffer setback, and it's actually a greater restoration area beyond the 25-foot setback, where Jones Brook is, mostly impacted near the road, near, activity. So that's some of the information that we had discussed on site. I don't see what the proposed plantings are. Is it more in the narrative and not on the plan? That's something that typically the commission likes to see it on the plan, just so that it's clear for the contractor. Maybe I missed it, I'm sorry.
No, I don't think you missed it. I know I put a note I know that there's a piece of, here we go, proposed buffer zone area for area planning shall consist of tree, shrubs, or other species. Other plantings as chosen by the applicant from the recommended buffer zone planting species needed to which is available on the town website. So, at this point, Mr. Marks was not exactly sure what he wanted to put in there.
That's fine.
But if we can agree on a quantity, and as long as they come from that list, if everyone's okay with that, I believe the applicant is as well.
So something should be proposed to the commission, and the commission will look at it, both species, type and size, and then with the note just saying, in consultation with the conservation department and dependent upon availability. We're pretty flexible during construction if something is not in stock or something, so based on the commission's, approvals, it kind of references a plan, a general plan. Also, I would like to point out that there's buffer zone plantings as well, proposed on the west side of the pond. That was an area that we had locked and it's slightly void of vegetation, just mainly maintainers lawn, so that's a good area, but the rest of the pond has a good vegetated buffer to it. A few other things that, let me just go by, kind of the plan items. Do you have the impervious buffer zone counts on the plan? I see various counts, you had mentioned it was increased by 7%.
Yes, that is contained within the project recommendation. I don't know that I put the actual map on the plan.
So that's something too that is usually a note on the plan, okay? I would recommend, well, it's kind of required, so I know in Norse's report, they did point out which ones are bank flags associated with Jones Brook, which are correct in the field, and the pond flagging. Some of this a good portion of these flags on the second plan represents bank, and maybe some of it BBW, and that's something that should kind of be identified on the plan. Whether it's bank or
For the
BBW.
rear of the property?
No, so I'm just looking at the second plan, the plan that shows
The property overview?
nope. Yeah, I mean, you could do it on both plans, it's just, it needs to show which one is bank, where is bank and where is BBW.
Okay. I thought that, this note here with the symbols shown on the plan, that WF is for wetland flag, BF is for bank flag. And then, Maureen went so far as to use RF for the series for, river flag, for all those river flags.
So you're saying that pond doesn't have, there was no bank flags flags at the bank of the pond? It could be
No.
right at the pond bank, but.
Yeah, the pond would be classified as open water, right?
Right, but it has BBW with it too, that's really the.
So that's what these WF are wetland, BBW are wetland flags, so, this is kind of hard to see here, but this gray dash line where the blue text says edge of pond, that's the physical edge of water as field located, surveyed by me. So the BBW flags, the small swath of BBW is that line between this blue line here and this gray line that kind of wraps around and then out towards the ring property.
Okay, I mean, I would just clarify, because some of the flags seem to be right at the top of the bank. Fine. They're not on BBW. That's something we can discuss further. Not a big deal. It just needs to be clarified in the plan.
Okay.
Okay. With regard to the marking of wetland resource areas, the applicant was very cooperative and provided a full delineation of the property just for educational purposes and understanding where the wetland limits are on the property. A portion of the back area is wet meadow. Beautiful wet meadow area that's not being mowed, and you can tell it's just wet meadow, and other portions of the site are mowed, but for the most part, it has a vegetated buffer around resource areas. I think it would be beneficial to identify where there's some paths. You have the bridge area next to the pond, between the pond and the river. Just identify approximate area, identify what that is. That's is it cobblestone?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so cobblestone path, because there's various pathways. I'd like to point out too, while on site, we observed, you can tell that the area is used as a wildlife corridor, so you have a lot of wildlife from deer to, other, fox with, listed as number of species that you see on site regularly. So it's really a beautiful area for wildlife, and it just provides a huge corridor to the Jones Brook. So I'd like to point that out. With regards to other information, on your NOI, you had pointed that the permanent impacts to buffer zone were 394 square feet. Did you include the mitigation area? Because that's buffer zone mitigation. I don't really think you have permanent buffer zone impacts. You're impacting that maybe a corner of the buffer zone on the outer.
Right here.
But you're actually restoring buffer zone there fully. You're removing pavement and everything. Did you-
Correct. I did not include that because I was trying to present impacts as areas that will be changed to impervious areas.
Okay.
So I mean, that would offset, you can just sort of looking at it, we can call it roughly and say that's at least, 20%, or 40% or so of that 500. So we could say it's 200 square feet. So the total, increase in impervious area is certainly lower than that 390.
Yeah, I just want to point out to the commission that there's actually a good amount of restoration occurring within the inner riparian, inner buffer zone. It really reduces that permanent impact of buffer zone. I would add the direction of flow for Jones Brook. I think Maureen touched on it, but you should just mark it up with an arrow, direction of flow. Also point out, I think your BLSF boundary is at 104. I just want to kind of clarify that area of mitigation or restoration. Is that restoring floodplain as well?
No, so the 100-year floodplain, based on the flood insurance study, charts, was between 104 and 106. It's sort of tough to tell exactly where at Baldwin Road that line jumps up, but even being the more conservative 106, I think we're at 108 up here in the driveway. So there certainly won't be any loss of flooring land subject to flooding or compensatory flood storage needed. Really, there's no work proposed within those limits.
I was just pointing out that I think there might be overlapping floodplain that would be probably restored in that area as well.
Okay.
I think it would be beneficial to, again, identify, so did identify bank for Jones Brook. There's other areas of maybe bank associated with the pond, but maybe about wet meadow areas in the back, and that's something more, or, on the site. It would be beneficial to add that to the existing conditions plan.
As far as just labeling wet meadow,
Yeah, just a note with a little arrow here and there to identify what area that is wet meadow. It's not shrub wetlands.
sure.
It's very different from the rest of the site. It's to the rear.
Yeah, I mean, essentially all of this right here is wet meadow, between wetland, upland.
Yeah.
Wetland. You just want wet meadow in the middle?
The plan should have a locus, and then we got 2 plans, and it looks like it's on number 1, so to get that. A variance is required for the restoration work within the no alteration zone, and we can give you a sample of that if you'd like. Typically, the commission, and I spoke about this with the applicant, requires some sort of visual barrier along the 25-foot offset, whether it's, this is a very large site, so typically the commission, works with applicants. It could be a varying type of visual barrier signage. This area provides extensive wildlife corridors, so I would be mindful of that. You need to show the proposed dimensions on all structures, and I think that comment came looking at just the first plan, and your second plan has it all. Yep. The dimensions are on there. Proposed driveway, you want to clarify, it's a paved driveway, I presume? Okay, so just want to clarify that, and then generally the commission also, it's not just the commission, but the stormwater engineer, board of health, that they're really, requesting infiltration of roof runoff or any new impervious surface runoff. So this is something as simple as adding the stone bench to the down gradient end of the paved driveway. Like a 2x2 stone trench to help reduce the, rate of runoff and help infiltrate. At the inner riparian, riverfront area, boundary, and I don't know, maybe we missed it on this plan. Oh, I see the 200 foot, but I'm not sure if you have the 100 foot.
No.
So that should be added. And add the direct abutters to the plan, which I see you do have it. I think some of these notes, I'm just looking at the first sheet, which is the overview of the whole site and the wetlands delineation. And that's it for staff review comments. Thank you.
I'm thinking a little, Isabel, to try to comprehensive list overall, but could I just ask, some of this, as you pointed out, is very, very pale. Is there some way you can darken up like the butters and stuff like?
Oh, that was done intentionally to draw your eye to the proposed portions of the
Yeah.
project. I mean, I can certainly plot out another plan with
Yeah.
the,
Just maybe darken up a little bit, and it, maybe, I don't know if you guys do, I don't see the dimensions of the existing buildings, is that, am I missing that? I don't see it.
Yeah.
I see being proposed, but we like the dimension of all the existing buildings. And maybe the, the patio and stuff like that, so we don't have the dimension, but certainly the house and it looks like there's a shed, those dimensions.
do you want me to dimension the patio as well?
It wouldn't hurt it to put it there, but
Would square footage be, I mean, I'm just trying to think about when I'm preparing these plans, there's a limited area of space. So if I'm trying to add a radius measurement here, and then a length and a length and a length and a length, I mean, it just becomes.
well, we just, I see over here, well, I guess those is with the stone trenches that you put on the garage, which by the way, I have no problem with the,
Okay.
with the proposal. It's a beautiful piece of property, well maintained, lovely, but, I'm just talking about info that we traditionally have on a plan. So I would definitely do the house. Just the existing house, the dimensions. You can just do the side and the width of it anyhow. So, just do a number on the sides so you can see it, so what it is. And the patio, I guess,
Perhaps we need the shed, just so.
yeah, maybe the shed, I don't think we need the whole thing, but just existing buildings anyhow. Right, let me see, I think Isabel really went over most everything I had on here. Okay, and that, plantings, I don't know if you could, would you like to have that on the plan too, not just a narrative, but on the plan, right? That Isabel's talking about, like a table of how many.
Genus, species, all that.
Yeah, but it's,
Quantity,
you could leave,
size.
and we've probably shown an example of it, lots of times we have something on the bottom, depending on the time of year and what's available, so you can, and usually do a conservation seed mix, also in those areas, so,
Mhm.
an application of that. And as far as the visual barrier, we normally have it on the 25 foot, this is an extensive piece of property. And lots of times we allow, and we have one example here, not, but we allow posts with these little signage on it.
Mhm.
It may be here, may not, yeah. So it's not interesting. But there are some areas that I don't know if you'll be able to give the full 25 foot because it does seem you get some beautiful stone walls and everything in there. So, that right behind your patio, that beautiful wall you have could certainly be your visual barrier. I wouldn't have a problem with that, and just a couple of signage there.
If you have those signs, I can probably attach them to the wall.
Yeah, or just.
If the wall falls in the 25 foot line, then
Yeah.
I actually, to point out that wall is mainly along your 25 foot.
Yeah, it is just about, that's what I'm saying, it'd be fine, and you can just put it on a post or something. How we decide to do it.
No problem.
And the others, I don't think we'd be certainly looking for a hard visual barrier as we normally do, because it's such an extensive piece of property, and it would probably just be so many of these interspersed along this area.
Yeah, we can work. with
Yeah.
them on that, and, we could work on roughly showing them on the revised plan.
Yeah, and then you can just tell us where it is, but it's a beautiful piece of property. It's very unusual for us to go out and see something like that anymore. At one time when I first got on the conservation, you would see some lots, but, mostly developed now, but.
But I'm not trying to develop.
No, no, we had a nice talk with your son and your dogs. I don't know if they're your dogs.
Yeah.
One was, very-
Also, you the ladies that showed up. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Christine and Diana, my son. One dog was particularly vocal, the little one. You know,
Yeah, she's the diva of the family.
But anyhow, so I think we went over most of it. And then those areas will let grow natural, which you pretty much are keeping the area natural anyhow.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So, but I think the list has been pretty well done. Thank you.
Diane?
Yeah, couple of questions. I mean, it's a beautiful site. I have been out there once before with you when we did an earlier site visit. But I do have a couple of questions. Lucas, earlier in your presentation, you said 2013 for delineation. Was that accurate or was it 2023?
23.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes.
I wanted to get that on the record because boy, my ears went up on that.
I know.
Most of my points have been covered. I do have a question. In that stone wall, there's a bunch of big plastic drainage pipes that look like they're coming,
They're placed there for the drainage, at least any water that gets behind it.
okay, that's what I thought, and it looks like they've been there for a long time. They're not new or
Yeah,
anything. I just wanted to,
They've been there.
yeah, okay, good. Want to get that on the record. Joanne mentioned the conservation seed mix in that restoration area. Has to mention is adding a gravel trench next to the driveway for infiltration. The post for signage, I think I'm good. Thank you. Thank you.
Paul?
The girls have covered most of it. The biggest thing would be the garage and the driveway should have been marked out before we got it, before the meeting.
As far as actually on the ground.
Yeah.
So the only reason that we have,
Or something.
withheld from doing that is because there have been so many design changes and iterations in this that I would have had to go to Mr. Mark's property to stay for the garage 15 times. I'm happy to do it for you all, prior to, the 21-day appeal period being over. Yeah, that's no problem.
No, it makes it easier than us going out, just spray paint the ground even if you don't stake it.
Sure. I understand, from my standpoint, it's sort of in an area where you can see the existing driveway here. So they, park in this area currently, so, wasn't sure when members were gonna be able to come out and view it, but they get knocked over. We can certainly lay it out there, come off 40 feet off the house and it's 30 feet back. I can pop a couple stakes and then, not a problem.
That's it.
Jack?
Yeah, the only question I think I have is, on the driveway next to the Jones Brook, when you remove the asphalt there, is it going out immediately or is it stockpiling it?
Immediately.
Going, it should take it up,
It's
coming out.
gonna be pulled out, don't right, ain't going.
I'm all set.
Jeff? Christine?
The section here on the sheet. 202, proposal, right?
Mhm.
And, did you read or call out where about this section? Identify and call out.
For proposed work,
Yeah, for the section, it's labeled as section, where about on the plans.
That's just the detail for the.
so this is a cross section of typical erosion control installation
Oh,
measures.
then we need to add up typical DYP.
Okay.
I thought it's certain area that wasn't shown.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
All set.
I'm sorry, oh, go ahead.
The only thing that came up as a question I see is when the part of that parking area slash drive and such comes out. Would we be looking at, on the brook side, a 2-foot trench along the edge of the hot top to the, new seed mix and planting area, and perhaps the post and rail fence right there? You know, just a short section on that edge of the.
Around that
lot that's
25
left.
foot line.
Yeah, along the 25, what's left after you take out that, along the edge of that, a stone trench, the same as you did around the garage, around the driveway.
Like
And,
2 foot by 2 foot stone,
Yeah,
and then the seed mix.
Yeah.
With the. stone.
yeah, and that'll kind of protect that area from rain, whatever they're blocking off that parking area.
I'm okay with that.
They even have seed mixes that go over modified rock though, that specking out for all of our bridge construction projects.
That's not what he was saying, a stone.
Just a trench.
Trench
The
at
trench.
the down, cause
Like
it all
it around
pitches that
the
way. And then a post and rail fence, because that's the more heavily used.
Yeah, it's near the sidewalk and,
How high is the fence? 3 feet, 2 feet?
Yeah.
Right, I mean, I don't know how big, how tall these poles are gonna,
It's pretty
supposed to be.
like
We
that.
can show you the typical, like,
Okay.
you see them around.
Cedar rail, post and rail.
Yeah.
See the real?
That's all the questions, so.
So to,
Well, that's it.
involve, keeping with that, with the 25-foot, no disturb zone, if you'd like to see a post and rail fence, I mean, can you give them, it would sort of. Sometimes I want, sometimes not, I mean, would the end of the existing driveway limits, would ending the fence there be a good spot?
Yeah, there's vegetation. all
Because,
along.
yeah, there's a bushes here, so,
Just the width of the
Okay.
hot top, because there's all bushes that run along the back of that. So from there out to the street.
2-foot trench,
And
fence on the west
post
side.
and rail right there,
East
yes.
side of it.
Well, is there a way you can show that the existing, or that the proposed garage, where the limit of pavement is, this pavement here? Where the project is going, so if,
Look, the actual pavement here is this area there.
this area here,
Yeah, which is a big hump drive.
okay. So, but that's a portion of the proposed driveway asphalt is being located right where the.
Where the existing driveway.
Yes,
Yes.
can you label that as, oh, actually, it's screened back, sorry. It's Tim's Drive.
Yeah, big hump
Okay.
drive.
Okay, if you could just bold that as part of this, so that it shows that it's. I missed it, and other people are gonna miss it, so if you could just bold that too.
Yeah.
So it shows,
Yeah.
replacing a pavement, paved area with new driveway.
Sure.
Okay. It's-
All set. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Just one other comment on the area that's going to be the 25-foot no alteration zone, will do signage. If, can we word it in such a way when you do it, there are any other areas, this time he was hard to tell what kind of vegetation is there. Maybe when you've been out.
Yeah, I've been out to the site before, it's pretty obvious where wet meadow is versus.
It was all pretty much, you know, it's hard to say what would
Yeah.
be there. If we could just say that there are other bare areas, then there'd be some restoration done in those. We just said it as a note.
You mean like plantings,
Yeah.
because everything is just. To clarify, if there's areas once, you know, we do a walk again along the site that could warrant some vegetation. Short plantings, or again, the wet meadow is really awesome out there.
Yeah. You may,
Don't
yeah.
see such great
There's
pristine wet meadow,
appreciation of it.
we'll certainly look for it.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be great, just to have that. Thank you. Okay, so we have some revisions to make. And
April 10th. April 10th and then the.
so I will continue this till April 10th, so we can get the revised plan.
I just have an actual quick question, to Isabel's point, and this may just be my own ignorance regarding the bank of the pond. What jurisdictional boundary is associated with the bank of that pond, or any sort of resulting area, or?
It's just buffalo.
Okay, so with the BVW line being, outside of the bank of the pond and all fronts, that resulting buffer would be inside of the existing 100-foot BVW buffer, correct?
Yeah, it looks like bank is maybe WF 5, 4, 3. Flags, it's something
I just,
take a better look at.
yeah, I didn't see anything about bank as regard to, the wetlands flag in the field with the room and the flags labeled 1A through 12A. So those were those around the pond. I did not see any differentiation between BVW or bank of the pond, and sometimes those are coincident. I don't know if that's a question that I need to ask Maureen for
We
clarification.
can talk about it further, it's really not a big deal.
Okay, I just want to make sure that when we come back.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after, that's okay.
If I may, we're going to continue it to the 10th, that means we would have to have everything back in a week. Is that? Or the next meeting, which would be.
The deadline would be the 3rd.
Which is next.
It's already by the third.
If I can't get it in by then, I will request continuance to the next meeting.
Okay, all right.
Uh,
All right, then I will make a motion that we continue the hearing to 27 Baldwin Road. The applicant is Tony Marks, bond 109-1560 on BBL 1560 for April 10th.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
You're done.
I'm in the office tomorrow, Friday, we can clarify the other time.
I send it over and sort of put it on for make sure that next time we come in. Alright. And then I'll hit, so I'm gonna do,
Great, wow. Keeping it at.
that's gonna be.
But I like to hear.
Beautiful.
I call that the.
It's like being someplace else, you know, really nice.
When all the labs are remote and the same, essentially by signing all the service for the butters,
The health
the owners then become the butter.
The white cat, he's actually.
No.
And the dog shield on it. There's plenty of room to run. Which the kids will run with the dog. They don't.
Next time we want to come and see some goats, the chicken.
You might have seen this, Joe. That's what the kids on.
Yeah.
They've been with me for a few years.
Okay, we didn't see them. Next time we'll check them out.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Good night.
Okay, next item, it's 7:20, Mass Wetlands Protection Act and Bill Ricker Wetlands Protection Bylaw Wetlands Hearing, Notice of Intent, Public Hearing for 33 Fox Road, applicant John Ricker, DCP file number 109-1562, BBL 1562.
Is this John Steve?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
That was me, Sean. I better remind you. It's quick. There it was. Right in it.
Okay, speaking of beautiful lots.
Gosh, it's like a nice day.
Yeah, that was a winner.
Oh, my gosh.
That place is nice.
I also been mortified.
Oh, it's been empty. We started working on it.
It's so scenic.
These are revised plans. My garage closet is under the weather. Probably right at an hour before the meeting.
Could rent it out to Spielberg for movies.
For the record, Stephen Dresser, Dresslands and Way, representing John Reaper on the matter before you. Mr. Reaper purchased the home at 30 Ox Road, and he has applied to demolish the home, construct a new single-family home. As you've seen, the house is in disrepair, and there's a lot of significant amount of debris there, including the camper, a lot of other things. disrepaired garage that's coming out and such. So Mr. Reaper's looking forward to cleaning the site while the neighbors cheer him on.
The neighbors all came away.
Based upon staff comments, I did revise the plans. There was a beeline that we were unaware of when we went out and did the survey. It was probably overgrown and such, and since it's off the site, the survey just didn't pick it up. So we did go out there today and pick that up. It really only changes the buffer zone by about 770 square feet. As the rest of it was buffer zone anyway, and that's about 11 square feet of extra impervious area on the property. The 50-foot no operation zone from that bank is entirely off the property, so we won't be disturbing anything within that area. This is a very large swale that handles the drainage from not only from the Ox Road subdivision, but up where Lindsay, Bowman, Matthew, all that. If you're familiar with the area, it was all government housing, I think, from the 50s or so, by Hanson Air Force Base. And then they apparently went in there and did what they did back then, which is just putting catch basins and drain pipes and big as well. Who cares who's down, I guess. Once Mr. Reaper removes the garage, cleans up the site at the direction of staff, and the site, the debris is just all over the place. He's done quite a bit already. I haven't gone into buffer zone so heavy, or, there's tires, there's quite a bit of stuff out there. His hope is to put in a post and rail fence that would be 40 feet behind the house, give them a reasonable backyard. This would take up 600 square feet of the 50-foot no operation would be disturbed. However, there's a protection area, an additional 5,800 square feet back here. So it just allows them to kind of square off the lot, take a little bit of the no operation zone at the same time, protecting a large part of the no operation zone. A variance will be required for the cleaning for this small portion that's in the no operation zone. Erosion control will be in place at the limit of work that may be subject to change at staff direction, but there's just a lot of stuff you can't see. It's loaded with Japanese bamboo. So I think that's something that, once they put up the erosion control, get the machines out there and figure out if they have to go further, more erosion control, or some way to work it out with staff so they can clean that up real well back there. There is an infiltration system, the roof gutters on the entire house and the driveway to a stone trench. The development is essentially in the same place as where those driveways are. This driveway comes back here. The house is pretty much right on top of it, just extending past the driveway. The shed will be gone, the garage will be gone. So we're basically, what are we, 40 feet. And also I think it's 70 feet from the wetlands. Oh, 71 is where they're, 40 feet is to the back. So both the existing house and the proposed house are 71 feet to wetland. So John is here. Any questions? We'll be glad to answer them. Just so there were a couple, we added a north arrow on this plan. There was some stuff on the drainage shed that wasn't a good cut as age. We revised the map and parcel. Correct. So, but anyway, any questions? Glad to answer.
Isabel?
Yeah. Did we do the staff review notes?
What? Did you?
No.
John went in and talked.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Called the meeting.
How did
He
you know
didn't tell me
that?
exactly what they were, but that's.
We were gonna say this. I saw your email just shortly right before the meeting.
Yeah,
And I
they
was
just wanted me to kind of revisit the plan and
Okay.
not everything that, like I said, there were additional
Right.
stuff I just went through.
We can send you our notes too. So we've been out on the site a few different times. It is a challenging site. It's essentially like almost like a landfill in some areas. So it's a great opportunity to improve, buffer zone overall, inner buffer zone. Regarding this plan, this is the first time I'm looking at it. So Steve revised the plan to show the B series, as you noted. We're in agreement with the B series. The pink flag was added by the surveyor. The surveyor was super kind, really polite out in the field. He added the culvert. He picked up, I'm sorry, the head wall, concrete head wall, and noted that it's a 30-inch RCP. So that's great information for you to just have. That stream system is connected to the overall wetland system. With regards to this town parcel should be labeled as town-owned on this plan. Sorry, it does, sorry, well, I need stronger reading. Town-owned, if you could clarify that that's actually conservation, BCC owned, okay? It's actually protected open space. A good amount of trash and debris is kind of spread onto that lot from this lot. So there's miscellaneous debris. Did you start removing stuff already from there or no?
We loaded the dumpster out, not in the horrific property, but just around the
Oh,
house.
it just, yeah, so there's just miscellaneous debris that's kind of spilled over that along the boundary, so that's stuff that should get cleaned up. In regards to the A series, that wetland delineation was done back in, I believe, 2021 maybe, and it was in January.
21.
There's a number of flags that we don't agree with, 5A, 6A, 7A, maybe even 12A. Some of the flags are obviously in the wetland, so that's an area I would have Maureen revisit. We're happy to meet her out on site too.
Okay, I mean, it's a mess, I'm sure it's kind of hard to delineate. I mean, those 5A, 6A, 7A, 12A really aren't gonna alter this project at all.
No.
To change them, we could move those significantly, and it's only gonna change, the buffer zones, nothing, no limit of work or anything like that, 12. is-
Yeah, it's not, I mean, but in some areas it's, 15 feet. So the commission, they approve a plan, they approve the delineation on the property, so
5A,
it's not just 5A, 6A, 7A, it's that whole line, essentially. I don't know if the flags were back surveyed, there's an older delineation, there's the pink flags.
we don't know what the.
Yeah, we might want to think about it.
It's a delineation because there's pink flags along the brook too that I inspected and they're labeled, some of them are labeled.
We just don't know who did it. We have no idea what happened or why.
Maybe it was someone, I don't even know the history on that. BCC owned land, it's something that I could, see when the town became owners and stuff, but. Anyways, there was a prior delineation, I'm not saying that the pink flags are correct over this delineation, I just know that I was focusing on the blue flags and. They should be corrected in the field and on the plan. Regarding stormwater compliance, when we go through our notes, there's, the applicant is proposing a drywall infiltrating the driveway to be, it says grade 2 trench, which is information you want to see on a plan, because we've seen some mistakes in the field recently with some newer projects that they didn't really grade the driveway to the trench, and that defeats the purpose. So, thank you, Steve, for clarifying that. There's a proposed planting plan. I agree with the planting plan. There is extensive invasive species on this lot, from Japanese knotweed being the dominant species, some woody vine as well. I'll leave that to the commission to discuss. There is a lot of trash and debris that goes well beyond the scope of work on this property. The expectation would be that all the trash and debris be removed to the rear property line, since that's all buffer zone. And that work should be done before leaf out, just so it's easier to see and easier to reach. A good amount of tires in the back as well.
We thought it was like 2 months, I mean, like next year.
What? Before leaf out?
Yeah,
No, like now.
but he doesn't have an order now. We want him to go back and do it, and we want the work with you to do it now, it's otherwise.
Yeah, it's basically trash and debris, tires, a lot of it's, you don't need heavy equipment for, it's all buffer zone.
Okay, Just, yeah,
Well, some of the side are half buried and the stuff half buried there.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
can't pull it out.
I'd say after we confirm the delineation in the field,
yeah,
and then that's subject to the commission, but I'd say, now is a great time, and actually John's already doing a great amount of cleanup. You can see it on site. So as far as the plan, add the detail of the post and rail fence to the plan. Maybe it's on this one.
No.
I didn't see it. I would like to point out, Steve did note on the construction sequence that the cleanup and debris removal, and restoration is to be, completed ahead, as part of early on, which is what, you've been instructed by kind of like DEP to enforce. The map and parcel are incorrect on the plan. You probably corrected it, right?
no, they did.
Okay. And that's it for staff review notes. Thank you.
It was mostly, I was concerned about the delineation because of it being done in 2021. It looks like, I mean, Isabel and Mike would go out and walk it and see what needs to be revised, so that's it. So did you say the shed is being taken out too?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe you can put a note to be removed, just.
So there's existing structures and driveway to be removed, right?
Is that under construction, so
What's that?
where is that now?
It's it's a note on the plan view, right under the abutters man.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, okay, thank you. Right, and all the trees are gonna be gone, those big trees, you're taking them all down. I know the one out front is bad, there's a great big one out back, which I'm sure is gonna go.
Yeah.
There were a couple on the side between this abutter, Johnson, and are you planning on taking all those trees down? Just curious.
We have a choice to do the work,
Thank you, yes, we can get into it. Well, some of them look like maybe they weren't as healthy as they should be anyhow,
I
so.
mean, one of the ones really did.
Yeah.
A lot of the trees are getting choked down too.
Well, that's what we were wondering, what was, going up these, we saw the invasives and it was a difficult sell. It was, frankly, I thought it was a dangerous site, so we didn't go too far into it, but it's, but all the neighbors, as soon as they saw us come up, they're all coming out, and so I think you have some very enthusiastic neighbors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's eye looking at it.
It's bad, but luckily we went to this one first before we went to the other one, because I think that as bad as this was, it could have been even worse than you.
I think it helped out the other app.
I know, we go, after this, we go to Nirvana, this is like, oh, geez. But, with the whole project, I don't have a problem with it. I like the idea of, squaring off the yard and making that makes sense, and that would get more actually vegetative buffer out of it, some healthy vegetative buffer, so I think that's a good idea. Thank you for, doing that, but, no, I think it's just the revisions and, did you say, so over here where the head wall has been determined to be,
That's the location.
is that, I don't know, I didn't go, but is there a stream going through here? Is that,
There's a big.
yeah,
a
should we
big
just,
stream that's deep.
should we label stream? Can you just, yeah,
Oh,
just
does
label.
it not say anything? I'm sorry, yeah.
No,
that
I
should-
think I saw green engineering.
No, absolutely, that should say.
Yeah, maybe just put stream too, because wasn't aware it was a stream there.
I can see if there's a local name associated with it, but I don't believe so.
It's really just a drainage thing from.
It was a lot of flow today.
It was flowing pretty good, but there's a lot of, it catches a lot of water from all.
Yeah, I saw the drainage
It's
connection.
an old neighborhood goes through there.
I thought it was like maybe a headwater and then I came
And,
back.
and like Lindsay,
There's actually a couple of, catch basins in the middle of the woods out there, too, the sheriff told me about.
I didn't even see it. We walked around quite a
Are
bit.
they on your property or are they on
No,
the?
that
Yeah.
they're not, that apparently they're thinking about repairing.
I thought he told me one of the couplers was ready to fall in, so he's put a
Okay.
barrel over it.
So that makes sense. I'll coordinate with DPW too, because, I thought there was gonna be, some prohibited access maybe going on there, because I noticed the others were moved from the end of the street.
All the rocks.
And there's a, DPW big section as well, that's big section.
This all makes, much more sense to me now.
He told me there's a.
You know what I told Mike? I said, John's been out here cleaning the site already.
Better around the house and in the back right there.
Yeah.
You see the dumpster, the values.
No, you know, it's great.
Do a tire count.
I started
There's
to.
like 40 of them there right now.
You know, we were
That's
asking the
expensive.
neighbors about.
Huh?
That's
this,
expensive.
There's more in the back. He has more.
Yeah,
of that.
well, I had, the kid was trying to pull them out of there, that's why I said that you can't.
I
pull them
know.
out.
Well, this is a tricky site and it's a great improvement and it's a kind of a, you know, safety issue too for like people coming, but we can work with you on, you know, even removing some of that stuff from a few of the sensitive areas.
And would that,
Just tell us like a day that works for you and me, feel.
and then removing some of this debris, and be able to move out some of the invasives at all? Or-
So you would either have to do a full excavation of Japanese knotweed to the rear of the lot and maybe even some on the town owned property, which gets complicated because some of it's BBW.
You don't think that's all just gonna grow back with time?
And that's what I was about to say, is that either
You just keep moving
either
it back up.
either you do it all, but because it's so predominant out there, it would take over again. Even though I think this, you know, it would have to be an aggressive plan and a multi-year plan. And it would have to extend onto town-owned land, which is not a problem, but a lot of it's in sensitive areas too.
We should look at the type of plantings, not say the ones you're suggesting, I don't know, but maybe look at and see if there is type could be, you know, a little more aggressive with growing and help with. I don't know, this to creep back.
I think in this area where the limit of work is, you have to do that full excavation, get rid of all the down to the roots.
Yeah,
I think too, with the.
Which is probably, because
The no
so
obligation
much
zone.
debris, it's probably just as easy to do that.
well, you get some
It's
of
very
it's an
different.
improvement, but I was saying it's.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
probably what will happen in that restoration area. Beyond that,
The restoration area, I mean, they're going to have to dig up and scarify the soil, so they will be ripping up the knotweed, but it's a large lot, so that's something.
Yeah, well, as long as these are healthy buildings, they can.
So the commission should, okay, whether or not you're satisfied with the sizes of the plantings.
It's the same as on the Google plan. I heard.
yeah,
Okay.
nope, you gotta go by that.
I honestly don't know about the size of the dogwood. But they have-
I can tell you it's a kind of breaks from what you normally do, but they haven't changed.
The great dog would, I mean, these plantings would do well. I know some of the commission members have specified minimum height for the trees. And I don't know, you might wanna,
I'll let Paul speak to that, that's his forte, not mine. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, I have to say, I think this lot gets the award for the worst
Yes.
debris laden lot I've ever seen in all the years on this commission.
I
And
didn't see
really,
most of it, I'll tell you that. All the trees have gone, all the leaves are gone.
yeah, I commend you for taking on this project seriously, because this will be a great improvement to what's out there. And, you know, thank you. You know, walking around there, I didn't want to walk too far back because between the nails and the staples and the, you know, the screws this long and everything, I don't have steel boots, you know, they get.
You're drawing.
We do,
Yeah.
do. You know, and as far as the trees go, I, as much as I would like to see you preserve them, I know one of the big ones is right where the driveway is gonna go in. So, you know, I get that. And in terms of, you know, the location of the visual barrier, you know, not getting the full 50 foot over there, given the trade-off that we're getting, you know, I totally support that. I have no issues with that. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like roughly 31 feet from the corner back to the edge of the wetlands, which
Yeah.
may change, but
Yeah, 30 feet.
yeah. okay.
Well, not in this one.
Yeah,
In straight direction, no, that's about 25 feet there,
That's-
because it's the angle.
okay.
It's not the 71 minus 40. 40 is perpendicular.
Oh, okay. If you could just add that, on to the. when
Just
you-
next to the,
Yeah, from the corner of the visual barrier back to because when the wetland gets reflagged and, that may change too. Thank you for pointing out that the existing structures and driveway to be removed, because I saw that shed, and it's like, I'm not gonna leave that shed. And I didn't see it on the plan that you're taking.
Yeah, I know.
Data delineation we talked about, your own M plan, Steve. When I looked at it, I noticed that it had what we. Find it in here now,
it skipped a page on the copy.
that's what I thought, because,
So there's no page two.
yeah, because it's for,
I did this, I made copies.
great,
That's
so.
in my office.
if
But
we could-
I'll get it to staff.
Great, thank you. I figured that's what happened. And I think that was all I had. Thanks both.
Oh,
I'm all set, it's a big improvement, so. Good luck.
Yeah, good, thank you. Christine?
The dimensions of the filtration.
Of the filtration? 34 by 6. I think is what it is. For filtrators, what just so you know, what's going to happen, what they're trying to do at the Board of Health for smaller projects like this is storing 1 inch of rain, basically, so that for all your drainage on the site, you'll have to, calculate what your impervious area is and multiply it by 1 inch, and that's the volume that they're looking for.
They should do it by 3 these days.
Questions?
Anyone in Washington?
Yeah,
No, I don't.
you on the back row.
All right, then, I'll make a motion that we can, well, Steve, would you have these changes in, well, we have to make that wetland line.
And at the mercy of Maureen, but I'll certainly contact her tomorrow.
Okay, so it's-
Like the last one, continuous to the 10th, and
Okay,
if she can't get out there, we'll just.
I don't know, we'll try to work with her schedule. I know
Whatever.
she's kind of a one.
She's
So,
very busy these days.
Well,
She did hire some.
all right,
Oh, no.
I'll try to be flexible and get out there and move things around if we can.
Okay, good. All
right.
Thank you.
then I'll make a motion that we continue the notice of intent public hearing for 33 Off Road, the applicant is John Rico, sign of 109 and DBL 1562 to April 10th for, to revise the wetland line and revise the plan.
Second,
All in favor?
I was waiting for you, Jack.
No, sleeping this way.
Asleep at the wheel.
And to clarify, that
Yeah.
wetland boundary was delineated, I think, it was in the winter, January. So
Good night.
the area was likely
Steve,
covered in
everything,
snow.
the rest of the case, so.
I know we had one on, but I honestly think it was probably snow too, just the landscape, it was probably snow.
I was gonna ask you a question, I'll mention. It had nothing to do with ConCom.
All right, thank you. I'm doing
Good night.
Okay, moving on with the agenda.
7:45, so we move to the next, Mass Wetlands Protection, Oregon Wetlands Protection, and Wetland Bylaw hearing, notice of intent, continued public hearing, requested by the applicant to continue to April 10th.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Was that, Joel?
Yeah, Jack.
76 triple clover.
Okay.
And at 7:46, Mass Wetlands Protection Act and Bill Ricker Wetlands Protection Bylaw Wetland hearing, notice of intent, continued public hearing for 129 Concord Road. We requested the continuation till the 10th, isn't it?
Yeah, by the applicant.
Yeah, by the applicant request till the 10th.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
7:46 still, Mass Wetlands Protect Act and Bill Ricker Wetlands Protection Bylaw Wetlands hearing. Ugh. Notice of intent, continued public hearing, 505 Boston Road. Applicant request continuation till April 10th.
Okay, I'll make that motion. Second.
Christine, second, all in favor?
Aye.
You ready?
Thanks, Christine.
Yeah, Christine was.
Yeah.
And it's 7:47, Mass Wetlands Protection Act and Bill Ricker Wetlands Protection Bylaw Wetlands Hearing. Notice of intent, continued public hearing, 2 Crest Road. Applicant requests continuance till April 10th meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
That was Joe.
Jack.
Thank you.
Okay. And we go then, still at 7:47. Fast. Wetlands, Mass Wetland Protection Act and Bill Ricker Wetland Protection Bylaw Wetlands Hearing. Notice of intent, continued public hearing, 315, 317, and 319 Treble Cove Road. Applicant requests continuance till April 10th.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And at 7:48, Mass Wetlands Protection Act and Bill Ricker Wetlands Protection Bylaw Wetlands Hearing. Notice of intent, continued public hearing.
This was.
That was already continued to the 24th.
It was, you already.
Previously.
Oh, okay.
So now it's
Continued. Okay,
Okay.
moving on with the agenda, I forgot that, you had those, continuance requests. Request for certificate of compliance, as-built review, DEP file number 1091445, BBL 1445, and that's regarding 6th Abenaki Drive. Commission members have a copy of the, RCOC along with the as-built. And then also, so. Do they have the rest of it? Do they have copies of that?
Yeah, they all have copies. I'll make copies and then make.
So, a few of the deviations are listed on the RCOC letter, but if you look at the, essentially, one of the deviations is that there's greater buffer zone protection, and they did some plantings
No.
closer, so that's a win-win. The shed where it was initially proposed was shown in the back, behind the pool, closer to the post rail fence. It's actually shifted over to the right, and makes a lot of sense where it is. Over the patio, one of the deviations was that, and then there's a roof extending from the shed, almost creating a little cabana, with the existing patio, with the proposed patio. So that little cabana is, utilizing the patio that was approved by the commission. It's actually really, really nice. It looks fantastic out there.
Yeah.
However, if you look at the ASBIL plan, it does show that the swing set was shifted and the chain link fence was encroaching onto the adjacent property. They've been neighbors for a long time. I did speak to the homeowner, Mr. Yeah, no, that's the Gallagher is the homeowner. Essentially, when he was eyeing where that could go, he thought that it was lined up with the property line. I said in preparation for today's meeting that I would discuss it with the commission because it does put various boards, your decisions questionable when you're authorizing work on someone else's property, new work. It's not, this was not a pre-existing condition before it came to you. So as part of that, he did reach out to his direct neighbor, the neighbor, William and Mary Roberto at 4 Abenaki Drive. And he obtained a letter where it recognizes that they are aware, that they are aware of the fence and swing set, et cetera, on our property for as long as we both own our houses, the father of us. I did mention that it would probably need to be notarized. And that's something that I would discuss with the commission if it was acceptable. This is not notarized, but I think they were just trying to be proactive and get this in today. I said that's something I could discuss with the commission.
The only difficult part is moving the fence, right? I mean, the play area, you could remove, but it's the fence is all.
Yeah, I mean, you need to hire a fence company to come back out and so forth.
That's right, and that's what I'm saying.
The neighbors.
Layer to move, no, but
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the letter, but I think it does need to be notarized.
That's something that I had mentioned, but I think they were just trying to be helpful.
yeah,
I said that it's something that, we acknowledge, the tonight's meeting could acknowledge receipt of the RCOC, your review, and any follow-up. But as regarding any of the other deviations or information that you typically require on an as-built, they satisfy all the requirements. So is the consensus from the commission of the you'd like to see this letter notarized?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, would you like me to make it a little bit more detailed where they say they've reviewed the as-built plan dated, whatever?
Yes. And you might want to also add a brief description of the area that they're approving on their property.
Yeah, okay,
I mean, it says the fence and swing set, et cetera.
I could say it along the center of the property line on the northwest, southeast side.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and is there anything else?
Will this be attached, this as-built attached to the notarized? What are we gonna do with this? Just keep it in the file, it's not gonna be recorded, right?
You could actually have it attached, the notarized letter attached to your RCOs, to your certificate of compliance.
And yes,
I think we should.
so, because it will go with this plan, but, so that, because we can always say see plan too.
Yeah.
All right.
I think the easement on top of the northerly part of the property should be labeled book and page and, owner.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't have the plan right in front of me.
Sure, I'll do this one.
Yeah, can you give me that stuff? Oh, I see what
So
you're saying.
on the, future easement,
It's probably, it's one of the, I think it's the overhead.
is it overhead?
I think it's a large utility corridor. I'm not sure. I would have to take it. I'd have to look at it.
So that the connections should be shown in the property. Because it's not a fence.
Yeah,
Just mark
the comment.
So at this point, should we make a motion to not, to neither approve nor deny?
Yeah, and to, address with, and, yeah, until you receive a notarized letter from the director letter or addressing.
I'll make that motion that we neither approve nor deny the request for certificate of compliance for, DEP file number 1091445, BBL 1445 for 6 Abenaki Drive, in order to allow the owner time to, generate a notarized letter in regards to the work on the abutter's property.
Second.
Okay, Jeff.
That was
David slide on that.
All in favor?
David the nudge.
Okay, you have, so that was Diane. and Jack.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I love it.
Boy, it's been a long day. My brain is not processing words.
Yeah, just reminded.
Okay, miscellaneous updates. I do have miscellaneous updates, just to let you know, that's what I was printing before I came up here. Okay, we received an email, an inquiry from, DPW and this has come up in the past, and I think there would be a bigger plan for the existing parking lot at Vietnam Veterans Park. It's where the soccer fields are, and I've been out there, a number of times. Yeah. And in fact, I have.
The one in the low area.
It's before the soccer fields.
Okay.
It's the one on the left.
Right.
And actually, this area looks great. You can see where there's some funding. This is just light. Usually it extends all the way here.
It's a big mud puddle.
it's large potholes too. I mean, granted, the wetland boundary that you see here on GIS is not accurate. I mean, it's accurate around here, but then it actually comes in this way. It comes in this way and goes out. And in fact, you know, I've been out there when it's busy and there's, you know, vehicles kind of encroaching. So what they'd like to do is repair these low areas because and also do some light striping because they've had some concerns with both pedestrian and vehicular routing. I've parked in many of these in other cities and towns and it's a free for all.
Yeah.
And it's pretty dangerous for kids getting out of the car, cars backing out, little kids are walking by, adults. So just some basic, just to make it's more of like a temporary thing. So it's considered a repair. They're going to use the same substrate that's out there for the most part. There's a mix of material out here, but for the most part, all of this is gravel.
Overlay or?
Yeah, with gravel, they're not bringing in.
It's that plastic
Not,
grating,
they're not,
plastic grating that's in part of it, and then filled with gravel.
it's all up here, but they're really focused on
Oh,
this
gravel,
area
okay.
here. It's really a repair. There's large
Okay.
potholes here. But in talking to Fred and Kelly, I also discussed, as part of this, if they could place some large boulders here to prevent, because you could, there's ruts in here, and I know it's from vehicles when you're pressed to park your car with
Yeah,
no parking, you start creating it. And this is an area of all the area, you can't do that here because it kind of goes up slope. But this area is sensitive, and there's actually a nice little buffer here. So to help protect this area, they've addressed that, we discussed that in this
Yeah,
email.
just put boulders down.
Along the, kind of to delineate that edge. So you can prevent encroachment, prevent cars from going in there like they're going today.
Yep.
And I think probably down the road, if there's, funding or something, I think the idea would be to make it a better parking lot, but for the time being, it's, repairing it with gravel. And kind of grading it and such, and then using a little bit of wash stone on the downgrading end, and kind of help, filter, so. It's a repair that will end up in, a benefit.
Have safety signage at those boulders.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. And it is a safety issue.
I know, I park in similar areas, soccer regularly, and, yeah, it gets crazy when there isn't kind of an assisted direction of flow and parking at these lots.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give you a heads up that that's coming up, and, again, this is not a new parking lot, they're not redoing the park, they're essentially, repairing areas and, hopefully adequate enough to help lightly stripe. The striping won't last long, it's just probably for a season, but that would be helpful. So if, I just wanted to make you aware that this is kind of, it's brought up in the past, kind of went there, but this is something that we'd like to address now. It's kind of really messy out there too.
Yeah.
It would be an improvement.
Actually, it's not a bad idea for them until they make their plan to do this every spring anyhow.
Yeah, it's an improvement.
It could be
over
just
existing
It
conditions.
could be an annual maintenance, really.
Exactly. So, I'd like you to acknowledge that you're aware of it, it is near a pond across the street and so forth, but, going back to aerials. Doing this will be helpful. In fact, I think they've done it in the past, it just, before my time.
Do you want a motion?
Yeah, just acknowledging that, the department is working
Right.
on an administrative review to do minor, to do repairs to the existing gravel parking lot.
Okay, I'll make a motion that the commission is aware that Isabel will be working cooperatively with the DPW to make minor repairs to the Vietnam veterans parking area, and that she will keep the commission updated. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Staying in there, second.
I did.
Okay.
Okay, doing my best here, not getting you what you need for, minutes, but that will be included in your next round of packets, okay?
Yeah.
We'll table that for now.
Next. It's been pretty, all rounds.
Yeah. That's what she's on. Well, really,
Meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, great.
Second.
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 8:02.
8:02.
8:02.
Who got this?
Everybody second.
Jeff.
Everybody, but anybody's name will do.
Motion to adjourn and then
Jack.
a second, Jack.
Jack.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here.
Press that.
There you go.
Okay.
I have a feeling that this is gonna be.
We are going to take care of someone.
I have to tell you, I can't wait to go home and shower. I want that whole site at the 3 o'clock.
You get the heebie-jeebies though?
I can't believe it when we do